my office at the moment. So I'm Sam Marine would normally be chairing this meeting, but she's asked me to cover for her because she's in a meeting in Tyneside, and she is attending, but only in spirit by the looks of her. So she will be listening. So welcome to the Lankscan meeting. So I'm new to this, but we have two speakers today. We have Mike Flaherty from the chair of the Friends of the Tawd Valley Park, and he will be speaking involving young people in their activities. And we've also got Maya Linley, and Josh. Is it Joshua Brayshaw, sorry. So they'll be speaking for about 15 minutes. So firstly, we'd like to introduce Mike Flaherty. He's going to do a chat and we'll be speaking now. So can you share your screen, Mike?
I can do, just bear with me and I'll get that sorted. Right, is that sharing?
Yeah, it's quite small, Mike.
Yeah, we can see the slides and the notes page rather than the other page.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Flaherty, and I am chair of Friends of Tawd Valley, and I am also a conservation and volunteering officer with the Ribble Rivers Trust. Today, I've been asked how Friends of Tawd Valley engage with our youth in our local community. So let me just explain a bit about what who Friends of Tawd Valley are and what we do. So Friends of Tawd Valley is a community group who are run by volunteers who are passionate about the nature and wildlife they have on their doorstep. And the aim of the Friends group is to promote and improve the usage of the natural asset of Tawd Valley to support the health and well-being of the community. So Tawd Valley Park is what's known by the local community as the jewel in the crown of Skelmersdale. Skelmersdale is in the Douglas catchment. It's a new town, and Tawd Valley Park runs right through the heart of the town centre, and it also is home to the River Tawd. So we, the Friends group, help look after not only the river but also the Tawd Valley Park itself. So let me go into why we think, or I feel, that youth engagement matters to Friends of Tawd Valley. So point one being that young people are our future environmental leaders. So the more that we can inspire and influence our young generations to help protect and look after the natural world, the better the legacy we can leave behind, and for the youth to pick up when unfortunately we're no longer here. But going on to the second point, fresh ideas and energy, which strengthen conservation efforts. Our young generations are always coming through, and they're always being taught new knowledge that some of the older generations may not possess. So it's always great to engage with our youth, because they can always bring fresh ideas into community groups and into local communities to help us better improve what we haven't thought about within the valley. So I think that really matters as well. It's always important that we engage with our youth at an early stage, because it builds that lifelong environmental awareness. We've got to be the mentors and be the teachers to our youth on how important it is that we need to look after our environment, look after our wildlife. So it's also building that awareness with our youth within our local organisation. It encourages community involvement. It encourages people and youth families to look after the Tawd Valley Park, to see it as an asset, to see it as something to look after. So I really do think that matters. And the important one, I feel, and it's last but not least, is young people will inherit the environmental challenges that we've put upon them. So it's important that we gear them up, we train them, we teach them on what's important and some of the challenges that they're going to face in the futures to come, such as climate change, water quality issues, things like that. Some of the current challenges that I feel like Friends of Tawd Valley have faced in the past when it comes to engaging with youth. The first one is lack of awareness about Friends of Tawd Valley. So even though we do promote as much as we can on social media, Instagram, Facebook, unfortunately we don't have a TikTok account. I feel like we should, because youth are all over TikTok at the moment. But we are quite. We do have a youth officer within our ranks. But yeah, I don't think anyone of us would know how to use TikTok, even though it's probably pretty simple. But yeah, so lack of awareness of the organisation. We do promote heavily on social media, but at the moment, we a couple of years back we did lose our local newspaper. We do try and promote with posters and trying to put things on notice boards, but yeah, lack of awareness. We do have a problem with competing interests. So we do run a number of volunteer days, a number of events throughout the year to try and encourage young people and families to Tawd Valley Park. But again, we are competing with other interests that students and youth may have, such as school activities, football, sports, stuff like that. So maybe environmental work in their local area would come bottom of the list below things like sports and stuff like that. Limited youth representation in leadership. We do have a youth representative within our ranks within the organisation. I'm not sure if any of you guys know. He's quite popular within the environmental circles. Cornelius Jones. He is our youth representative. But when we say he is our youth representative, he did start as a representative when he was 14, but he is now 18. So we are looking for someone now to try and take Cornelius's place. Well, the next one, activities not designed with youth in mind. We do a lot of activities which are children, youth based and youth focused, which I'll go into in a bit. But a lot of our activities that we do in the park could be more focused to adults. Reason being, just the dangers and the risks that are involved in some of the activities that we do. And an important one, the end challenge, is a stigma regarding Tawd Valley Park. In the past, because the River Tawd has suffered through so many river pollution events, the river does run under 2 kilometres of culvert before it enters Tawd Valley Park. Above these culverts are housing estates and industrial estates, and unfortunately, we do suffer a lot of pollution events within the river. The Environment Agency are aware, and most national organisations are aware of the problems and the issues that the River Tawd does face. But because of a 2 kilometre culvert, they do find it hard to try and run investigations and stuff when there is a pollution incident. So a lot of the local community do see the Tawd Valley Park as dirty, even though it's not as dirty as an unkept. A lot of people have commented in the past on social media that it's just an open sewer, and it's not. And it's trying to get across to the people. It's trying to get across to local communities how the Friends of Tawd Valley and the local community are looking after it, and it does have its issues, but we're always trying to improve on these issues, and we're always reporting pollution incidents when they do come about and that. So there's some of the challenges we face in our organisation. How we try to motivate young people. So a lot of activities and hands-on fun. So we do a lot of river fly monitoring surveys with children, which they absolutely love. We do have a what's called a Kingfisher Club, which I'll talk about shortly. But within the Kingfisher Club, it's about making their voices heard when the children do attend, and when you do attend, making sure their voices are heard and what they have to say is listened to and is taken on board. And we do find that it does really help, because engaging with the children and making sure the children are really involved in what we're doing, it gives them a sense of pride, and it makes them want to come back time and time again. So we are building on that on them generational legacies that we want to do. We want to make sure that these youth come back and they walk in our footsteps and take on our roles when we're no longer available. Showing that what they do has a real impact. So, like, for example, in the picture, we are doing some river fly monitoring with groundwork CLM there, showing that what they're doing, what they're recording, and what they're putting up on national databases does really help to improve our water courses in the UK. Exploring social opportunities and giving them opportunities to gain skills and new experiences. So we're always trying to teach and show children the importance of looking after wildlife, trying to teach them new skills, even if it's just going down into the valley and identifying fungi, plants, doing a bit of bird watching and identifying some of the more common birds in the valley. We're always trying to give the children new skills in what we do. Some of the effective engagement strategies that we've found really help bring the youth and the younger generations back time and time again. Again, is tree planting. The kids seem to love tree planting, like I mentioned in the last slide. Wildlife monitoring, habitat restoration, litter picking. Kids absolutely love litter picking, because at the same time they're getting to walk through the Tawd Valley Park, getting to see the wildlife and seeing that what they're doing is really making a difference. And in removal, Tawd Valley Park does suffer from an abundance of Himalayan balsam, so the children love to attack the Himalayan balsam, but at the same time, it's great with the Himalayan balsam activities, because we're also giving them a history lesson of where Himalayan balsam came from, how it was brought over and introduced by the Victorians, and the kids seem to absolutely love it, and they always want to know more. And like I said before, effective engagement strategies also include social media campaigns. We do have an email newsletter that we do send out to families who have signed up to our newsletters, and just trying to use various social media platforms. And again, like I mentioned, the youth leadership, we are currently looking for a new youth committee position. Oh, my apologies. We also go into schools, colleges, and we also run a club called the Kingfisher Club. So on the picture on the slide is one of our activities we've done with a local primary school, which is Mayfly in the classroom, where we did go into the classroom and we collected mayfly from our local river, mayfly larvae. We put them in a tank, and we put the tank in the classroom, and the children were able to watch the mayfly grow. And when they were ready to hatch and fly, the children had the opportunity to release the mayfly into the local river. So it was fantastic to be able to engage with the children and show them that the importance of local rivers are there to be looked after. There's a variety of wildlife and abundance of species that call rivers home, and it's really important that we need to look after our rivers. Also, we did the trout in the classroom with the same local school, and again, we released the trout in the River Tawd, and they were really engaged. There was some really good sticky knowledge. I went back. We did the trout in the classroom the first year, and I went back to the second year to do the mayfly in the classroom with the same class, and the sticky knowledge that the children obtained was absolutely fantastic. They knew everything we taught them about the trout in the classroom. They knew it a year later. So we know that engaging with the children, showing having activities like this, it really does stick and really does have a positive effect, which is fantastic. We do try and link in with the school's curriculums on conservation projects. So, for example, this tomorrow I'm going into a local school, and we're going to talk all about rivers, and I'm going to link into their curriculum of what they've been doing recently in their class. We take a lot of our children on field trips and workshops, and we also attend youth job fairs to try and encourage students in colleges and universities who are looking at a career in conservation, to show them what they could expect and what they might expect when they do go into the working world. Going back to the Kingfisher Club, one Saturday every month, we have a small what it is it's a container that's been converted into a classroom, and we invite local school, local community, families and children down, and we run activities for them one Saturday a month. It could range from wildlife ID, river fly monitoring. We always try and vary the activities within the Kingfisher Club. So that's how we engage with the youth, with schools, colleges, and whatnot. So these are the few youth activities I've spoke about. So trout in the classroom was one. The children absolutely loved it, really engaged. The sticky knowledge that they possessed was fantastic. Like I said, they retain that information a year down the line when it came to do the mayfly in the classroom with them, which was fantastic. Our Kingfisher Club, so we have teddy bears picnics, we do arts and crafts, we have owl walks, river fly monitoring, you name it, we do. We try and have a good variety of activities with children and youth in the Tawd Valley Park. We do. That's me in a Santa suit. We try and go around every Christmas with the local Rotary Club, and try and give out presents and try and include children in some of the community activities we do over Christmas. And at the end, how does Friends of Tawd Valley measure our success? So the number of youth volunteers that keep coming back, so the number of families, the number of children that keep coming back, it's consistent time and time again. It's the same children, which is fantastic, and we are always gaining new families coming, and that which is brilliant. Like I said, repeat participation with our youth-led initiatives. Showing the children when they do come back, or once they've done an activity, the next time they come round, we show the environmental impact of our projects and what they've done, and we're always asking for feedback from our kids, giving out little smiley face worksheets to see, and little positive feedback forms for them to fill in. So key takeaways: youth engagement is essential to Friends of Tawd Valley in the long term for our conservation of the park. We need to make sure programs need to be relevant, interactive, and empowering, making sure that the children are enjoying themselves but they're also learning at the same time. Having a youth leadership, which we do, and we are looking for a new one currently, strengthen sustainability efforts, so they can engage with our youth and try and encourage more to come into our organisation. Importance of embedding conservation in the curriculum, again, which I've shown you in the last slides, we have taken on, and partnerships and technology can expand reach. So again, utilising social media as much as we can, utilising the internet as much as we can to try and get our message and try and encourage more engagement with our youth. But the call to actions that I would like to say to try and empower our next generation would be for everyone in this room in this chat to just join local conservation groups in your area, try and help with youth engagement, trying to get children more involved and our youth more involved, encourage youth participation, and even if there's no local conservation groups in your area, think about maybe starting something and try and support other youth-led organised environmental projects. And that's it. Thank you.
Can I say thank you, Mike, for a fascinating presentation. That was really great. And just want to open it up to everyone. If there's any questions for Mike around this talk. Maya?
Hi. Yeah, first of all, that was really interesting. I just had a question regarding your use of kind of social media to engage with young people and kind of what your experiences have been like with using social media. Just because recently within kind of our own youth committee, we've been talking a lot about how a lot of young people seem to be moving away from social media. So I, for example, I'm not on TikTok. I don't really understand a lot of that world. So I wanted to know if that's something that you've been experiencing as well.
I think it's going to start becoming more of a problem in the future with the new guidelines coming into with the new laws and guidelines coming into place where they're looking at children being 16 and above to start being engaged with social media. More so, we do get a lot of engagement on Instagram with our youth because a lot more youth use Instagram than they do Facebook. But again, there's been a big shift to TikTok, which I think we as an organisation we do need to move to because that's where all the youth tend to be at the moment. But yeah, Facebook is more so for the adult families, so the parents are seeing what we're doing, how we're engaging with the Tawd Valley Park, how we're engaging with the environment, and hopefully they're encouraging and bringing their children down to our events and activities, and that's how we're getting through to our youth is by at the moment getting through to the parents so the parents bring the children down.
Right, that's really interesting. Thank you.
So I think it's John. John, you've got a question.
Hi, thanks again, Mike. That was really inspirational, and I think it's going to tie in well with what May is going to and Josh are going to talk about. But some really very clear examples of their impact. And I'm the schools and youth lead on for Lancs. So I'm interested what you said about schools there. So you got like primary engagement. You meant how are you finding it with the secondary schools? You did mention college as well. So how receptive have you found local schools to getting their pupils involved?
So the good thing about some of our committee members, especially with primary schools, they are chairs in their local schools themselves. So we do have a number of primary schools that we do like to visit. We also just open up and we try and get in contact with local schools as much as we possibly can and see if they're interested in any activities or any sessions that they'd be interested in doing down in Tawd Valley Park. So we feel like we've got the primary schools pretty much covered. When it comes to secondary schools, it's very lucky that Tawd Valley Park is right next to two high schools, which is Latham High School and Our Lady Queen of Peace. Children from both of them schools, or young adults from both of them schools, I should say, have to walk through the park to get home, a lot of them. So at times we have stood along at the end of school hours. We've stood along the pathways, trying to engage with children about looking after the park. We have gone into the schools to talk to them about the importance of, because we did have a problem at one stage where we did have a big litter issue along the main thoroughfare between the schools and the housing estates. So we did go into the school and try and engage with the children on the importance of not to throw litter and rubbish within the valley. So yeah, we do engage with our two local high schools, not as much as we'd like to, because we do tend to engage more with the primary school children. But yeah, we have engaged with high schools in the past. And when it comes to colleges, just the other week, I was at a youth job fair at West Lancashire College as part of the Ribble Rivers Trust, but next to me was also our Friends of Tawd Valley stall. So we do go to local job fairs, but we do also have the colleges and the schools do contact us and ask us if there's anything we can do to try and fit in any activities that fit in with the curriculum linked projects of the school. So we do field trips in the valley. We have a lot of historical interpretation boards and wildlife interpretation boards in the valley. So we take children out on field trips and just basic walks in the valley also.
That's fantastic to hear. I mean, there's there's been the review of the national curriculum and sustainability is getting a boost through all the key stages. So hopefully that will help. But it sounds like you've got a really good model of engagement there. And I suppose like think about the immediate locality. If the park is in amongst those schools, then it's very relevant. So I think that's something we can think about wider in Lankscan when particularly on the schools youth engagement is like is there quite a few friends groups like yourselves, like how are they linking up with schools and youth organizations in areas? So that's really interesting to hear. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
So we've got Josh. We're running out of time for the next speaker, but we'll talk to Josh. And I think there's a couple of people who want to ask a question, but Josh first.
Yeah, Mike. My question for you is: you look like you've done really well engaging with primary schools and high schools. So I just want to know what's your advice on giving going into like schools, giving like a good presentation, keeping them engaged, and keeping in contact with the members of staff, so you can go in again, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, hi Josh. Yeah, it's a good question. So when we go into schools, sometimes we approach the schools ourselves, or sometimes the schools approach us. We have a format that we like to do. So we create a presentation depending on what the staff or the teacher of the class wants, or what the curriculum is at the time. We try and base our presentation around what the curriculum base is. Mostly it's usually about rivers and the natural environment anyway. So a lot of the presentations tend to be similar, but we also try and fit activities. So it's, primary school children, they don't like to be talked at a lot. They like to be engaged and they like to have some activities. So we try and break up our presentations with a few activities, like flashcard games, a bit of arts and crafts, stuff like that, stuff to like break up the presentation. But also, like I showed in the slide as well, trout in the classroom is a fantastic one. It can be a bit expensive, the trout in the classroom, but mayfly in the classroom is really, really a cheap alternative if you wanted to really engage with children in a long term. If you wanted to run a project with them for like a month, where you carried on going into the same class throughout the month, mayfly in the classroom is very cheap, very easy to do. All the information can be found online. But yeah, there's a number of ways we do engage and try and keep the children positive and making sure that they're retaining that knowledge. That's the important thing. I hope that answers your question. Cheers.
Thank you so much for the questions. I thought there was someone else, but I think they've put their hand down. I think it's Liam Carr.
Just very quickly. I know that we're running out of time, so I'll be very quick. I'm Liam Carr, and I look after sustainability for a group of colleges, which includes West Lancs College. So thanks for coming along to that careers fair. And it was really around those challenges I think John alluded to, that although embedding sustainability and climate action it seems to be a bit easier in the low school levels, it's a bit more of a challenge in further education and secondary schools. Ofsted actually haven't helped us out. It didn't go into the new Ofsted frameworks, will not be inspected on it. But it was really just to try and say that a good way to get around that problem with all the students is to just link it to the community and employability. And you've done that anyway by attending the careers fair. And I think linking it to sort of green skills and employment is probably going to be the way to go. But I've sent you an email and we'll catch up after that. I'll not take any more time in the meeting. We'll get on to the next speaker.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Cheers, Liam.
Thanks, Liam. So I want to introduce you to the next speakers. So we've got Maya Lindley and Josh Brayshaw. And you're going to be both members of Lankscan Youth, who are working to engage and involve young people in the work of Lancashire Climate Action Network. Lankscan Youth formed as an outcome from the Youth Climate Conference in 2024, and have recently led a workshop in 26 Lancashire Climate Action Forum. So we're going to listen to your presentation now.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so my name's Maya. I'm the chair of Lancashire Youth. Josh is going to be taking the second half of this presentation. He's our research coordinator. And then if anybody does have any questions, we're also joined by the other half of our committee, Vlad and Ivy, who will be taking those. But for anyone who's not sort of encountered Lancashire Youth before, we are part of the broader network, and we do collaborate on things like the recent forum, which I'll talk about in just a minute. But we also kind of day to day can sort of operate in our own right sometimes as well, lead our own different projects, focusing around kind of engaging young people, empowering them to take climate action within their communities. And it flows on quite nicely from the previous talk, because we focus a lot on sort of the 18 to 25 age group. So kind of what happens once young people aren't in schools anymore, particularly because as a committee, we all currently fall within that age group as well. Next slide, please, Josh. So as I mentioned, we recently delivered a breakout session at the Lancashire Community Climate Action Forum, and we focused on meaningful engagement with young people and teaching members of the wider community how they can make sure that the work they're doing to connect with young people is impactful and actually kind of serves the young people and the other stakeholders involved. Now, we used a Mentimeter, which for anyone who's not used it before is basically an interactive slideshow to get some of the thoughts of our attendees throughout the session. We had a lot of sort of discussion-based or interactive tasks. And I'd just like to take you through some of the main findings, because we definitely learned a lot from the session to take forwards when we're thinking about engaging with young people in the future. So first of all, we asked everybody what makes youth engagement feel like a positive experience. And those top three, those first ones that come up, agency, hope, and mutual respect, they were the most commonly occurring, which is very interesting, because I think a lot of the time when we're talking about engaging with young people, we can kind of miss the idea of it's supposed to put young people on an equal platform. And so the idea of mutual respect, kind of listening to one another's ideas, was something that emerged a lot during the discussion. And I'm not going to read through sort of all of them, because there are quite a lot of things that appeared on the list. But as you can see, you know, a lot of the answers were about kind of the atmosphere created within those spaces, making sure that it's a place where people are feeling inspired, empowered to take action, that decision-making power is shared, and that it's acknowledged that the young people have kind of as much to teach the rest of the community as others do have to teach young people. So that was kind of the first point that we looked at. We then kind of moved on to think about, well, what is the point of those collaborative relationships? Why do we try and kind of bring young people into those spaces in terms of what they can learn from each other within the wider community? And obviously there's a lot of that kind of that technical knowledge, the resources, the networks that members of the wider community might have that young people just don't have access to yet. But also, you know, again, it's this element of young people also have networks to draw upon. The kind of differences in life experiences that can be shared, those different points of view, kind of people can quite often have very different priorities under kind of the common ground, those shared goals of climate action. So I think we learned that it's really important to kind of look at those different priorities, what from a young person's perspective is the most important thing to tackle, and how does that differ from what other people may think. So that was definitely something that emerged during our discussions. And then, of course, towards the end of our breakout session, we wanted to kind of use what we talked about to kind of create some next steps. And some of our attendees said that they were going to start connecting with local colleges, kind of connecting with young people around that sort of 16 to 18 age range, and hope that that will keep them involved. Involving young people earlier in conversations, you know, not just sort of bringing them in as part of a process that's already underway. So, for example, I think during the session, I shared an example of a time that an organisation approached a youth group that I was in to try and have a discussion with them. But by the time we were invited into that space, all of the main decisions had already been made. Everything was kind of underway. And we all felt a little bit like, well, kind of what was the point in us being there kind of thing. As great as it was that we were invited into that space, as the earlier that can be, the more impactful it is sometimes, I think can be really important. We also talked about kind of the importance of developing new projects kind of from the ground up to involve young people, and making sure that those actions are relevant for the young people based on their priorities, and also to engage with young people about some of those future skills as well. Next slide, please, Josh. So in terms of some of our next steps as a committee, you know, it's not just the attendees that we hope will learn something and take something from that session. We also learned a great deal. And we were able to form a lot of new connections, which we're hoping to reach out to build some collaborations going forwards. We've become really passionate about continuing to spread the word about youth engagement. We've learned that, you know, the session was a really nice way for us to be able to connect with a broader range of the community, and we would definitely want to continue that. Based on our feedback, it was a 90-minute session, so we used a lot of different kind of tasks within that. People tended to like the interactive elements more, which was interesting. So I think we're going to focus on prioritizing interactive actions moving forwards. Finding ways to engage again with a broader range of community stakeholders. A lot of the time we end up collaborating with a lot of kind of other young people's groups or events, and so we're really keen to broaden that a little bit and be talking to other people who aren't kind of within that youth sphere, I guess. And finally, we're really keen to design some more activities for that 18 to 25 age range, because this has been identified, it's been brought to us that this can be a really difficult group to engage with, because again, they are sort of school leavers. You know, we've all talked about kind of as a youth committee that a lot of the groups are targeted at under 18. Once you turn 18, it's kind of, well, then where do you go? What group do you participate in then? Where's the action? So we're really keen to kind of provide that next step. I'm going to hand over to Josh now. He's going to take you through kind of some of the upskilling that we've been working on as a committee recently.
Thank you very much. So back in January, we had the lovely Harvey help us by doing a workshop with us, where we discussed where we wanted to go as a committee and what we needed to do, discuss who we are and our aims and objectives. We also then did a SWOT analysis, which stands for strengths, weakness, opportunities and threats. One of our strengths is committee are dedicated. Thankfully, we only got 4 people currently, but we are dedicated in helping youth getting climate change and getting youth engaged with it. Weaknesses is fortunately money. Our bank balance is currently on £0 and 0p, and that's been the same since we started. So unfortunately, we can't you know, do anything expensive. Opportunities, our main opportunities in the near future, we want to expand the group, hopefully get a few more committee members and also non-committee members to help us help the group out and sort of help us get our name out there a bit more, and hopefully run some events and networking. So I know Maya mentioned when the group came to the conference a few weeks ago, we managed to speak to a load of great groups, and our threats are age. Fortunately, none of us are getting any younger. For example, I'm 21. I know I don't look it, but yeah, so only got until a few more years until I'm 25, and then I'm fortunately too old. And then it's like a transitional time of our lives as well. For example, I'm set to graduate from UCLan in a few months, and then I'll be moving on to onto a teacher training program for a year, and then I'll be fully qualified teacher. So that's obviously a lot going on in the space of a few months. So what's coming up next? A bigger presence on social media. I know I've been helping Ivy, our social media person, by producing a load of interesting facts to go onto our social media, tackling climate, anxiety, litter picks and beach cleans. Hopefully when we get a few more members, we'll be able to do that and arrange some dates. Reaching out to existing groups and delivering presentations to other groups. I have personally made a list of groups that we could go out to and say hello. This is who we are. and this is what we're about, and hopefully going to do some presentations as well, for example, at different sixth forms, universities, social groups, anybody that will have us really, and also much more. We are hopefully getting do more events and more actions such as them over the next few months. So if you'd like to stay in touch with us, you're more than welcome. We've got our Instagram page, we've got a LinkedIn page there, so that's how you find us on social media. We've also got an email address. We've put Maze there if you want to contact us for an event or to find out more information, or arrange us to come in to your organisation. We also got the website there, so if you want a bit more information about us in general, you can have a look. And yeah, and I'm now going to pass over to Ivy and Vlad so they can answer any questions you may have.
Hi, Helen. Do you want to ask a question?
Hiya, great talk, thank you. I was wondering what avenues you're trying to reach people who are taking a step back from social media.
Sorry, my camera's not working, so I probably look strange. That's kind of one of our things at the minute, was trying to figure out how to reach people who aren't on social media, because one of our ideas would be to just do kind of grassroots handmade posters and kind of printing them out or sending them to other groups to distribute them. Another thing we're trying to do is, when we do target groups, kind of give them resources to submit to their people. I think it is a bit difficult as well, because social media is really great for spreading that information, so it is a bit of a hurdle right now to try and target people who are kind of in that weird in-between point. I think that is kind of one of our next things, is to try and figure that out. I know in the past people have just, before social media was a thing, it's been more of like maybe an online message board or emails or just physical things, and we're going to try and look at doing all of those things. If anyone does have an experience with that, we would absolutely love that, but that's what we're trying for now.
Thank you, Ivy. That's good to hear. We, as Ribble Rivers Trust, use social media quite a lot for publicising our events and activities, so it's good to hear what other options might be available, even like you say, just to learn from each other and discuss avenues for getting the word out. Thank you.
So I think there's Hilary for a question.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
It could have been our local Greenpeace group who reached out and invited you to an activity, or it may not have been, but we did reach out and just to see if there was any interest in an MP meeting that we had set up, and it had already, the date had been set, and we only knew about Lancs Can Youth after the network day at Cumbria, so that's when we reached out. But I think we would be really interested in working together and getting your ideas on how we can involve you or be involved in things that you would like us to be involved in to support you. So I just wanted to say that really. The meeting with the MP went well, and there were quite a lot. It was Friday morning, which meant obviously it's hard for people who are at work or studying at that time, but there were quite a lot of grey hairs in the room. So it would be fantastic for the MP to be hearing from a wider section of the community, and we'd love your ideas, not necessarily now, but when you've thought about it, on how to do that.
That's great. Thank you very much. We'll definitely, I think something that we need to think about as a committee going forwards is how we kind of keep in touch with people that we've kind of already spoken to and met, because I think sometimes when you've kind of got this big list of contacts, we don't really have like a central newsletter or anything like that to keep people informed. So that's definitely something that I think we could do with kind of developing in the future. So yeah, thank you very much.
So got Tracy next for a question.
Yeah, thank you. My name's Tracy Ramsey. I work for an organisation called Youth Focus Northwest, and I'm quite new, so I haven't met anyone before, so it's really nice to meet you. So Sarah Lanchin came, I think, to the conference when that was with yourselves and met, so talked to me about your work and Joshua and stuff. So Sarah asked me to come along and obviously just engage with you. So there's a couple of things I think we might perhaps collaborate on or offer. So Youth Focus Northwest runs training, and we've got some free training that we'd offer for any folks that are working with young people within their organisations, particularly around Laura Lundy's model of youth participation. So we do a lot of work around that. And we are looking to offer that, particularly if for Lancs there's a whole set of free training that we could share. Maybe I can share with the team, and you could sort of share that across the network. So and then the other stuff that perhaps there's some opportunities for collaboration is we run a project that's just starting. It's called For Planet. So it ran last year, and it's working with and to train young people as peer educators, and then they go and run a kind of a climate action session in their communities. So I could put all of that in the chat and my email and stuff. And if people want to pick that up and jump on a call at any point. And Mike, I mean, the presentations are fantastic. I really appreciate them. Thank you. If there's anything we can do in collaboration and partnership, that would be fabulous. Be really interested. So I will put that in the chat and stop chatting.
I think it's Harvey. Harvey's got a question.
Yeah, thanks everyone. More just a bit of a reflection, really. Thanks to everyone who's done the presentation today. They've been really good, and it's great to see quite a lot of enthusiasm for working with young people across the network. I mean, we've seen an example of what I was going to talk about here. Is I was just thinking about our role in terms of being other representatives of Lancs Can, and how today essentially has shared the word about various different things that are happening. So it's just, I think it's about us going away and just remembering. So if we have a young person who comes to an event or an activity, maybe just remembering to talk to them about, oh, did you know that this exists? Would you like the contact details? So that, because again, that's sort of the big challenge is trying to reach people where they are. So again, we've heard about where at this stage in life people are changing colleges, or they're doing part-time work and studying, or they're moving around the country, or they're looking for jobs. So it is quite hard to pin people down. But I think if we're all there as a network kind of trying to help that, then we can help make those connections and bridge the gaps between local organisations and then the kind of the Lancashire network. So I think that's definitely something I'm going to take away. And I think the training and everything and the opportunity to work with Youth Focus Northwest is brilliant as well. So again, that's another great thing that's come out of this session, really, just having, making that connection. So yeah, very positive.
So is there any more questions from anybody? Is that it? Oh. So is there any announcements from anyone? Is anyone got any special events or things going on at the moment that we could share?
I could talk about the next Lunch and Learn.
Yeah.
If people are interested. So we've got the next date, let me just find it, is the 21st of May. So it'll be 12:30 to 1:30 on the 21st of May. I've just had an email today about a potential topic for that. So we'll send out the information through the newsletter as soon as we can. But if people want to pencil that in the diary, and and I might just give way to somebody else while I just find the email, so I don't want to get the information wrong. So I'll pass over to somebody else, and then I'll just come back and let you know what the topic is.
Has anyone else got any announcements that they'd like to share before Harvey finds the information for you?
Just quickly, I don't know, can you hear
Yeah.
me okay?
Yes.
So just to say, I know I messaged you, Tracy, but if there's anything that anybody would like including in the Lancs kind of newsletter kind of from today or kind of wider, just let me know. I'm going to get that probably together by the end of the week. And I think kind of with what you've been saying, sort of Maya and Joshua and all of you, I wonder if it'd be nice if you could maybe not for this newsletter, but maybe for the next one, if we could have like a youth focused section of it. And then I know as you're all kind of getting your newsletter together, you probably might want to do your own thing, but maybe in the interim, that can be a good way of just getting that information out there to just the wider membership. But just thought I'd float that idea.
That would be amazing.
Hillary.
Thank you so much, Ian.
Go.
Hillary, are you asking a question? I think you've got your hand up,
I
that's all.
wasn't, but I'm trying to remember the exact details of a workshop that we've got coming up for people to sort of explore their own personal carbon footprint and have conversations about, what positive things they may be able to do on that. I think I'll send it to you, Naomi, if that's okay, because it would be brilliant to have that advertised. It's open to all. It's run by Greenpeace in Lancaster, and it's in the middle of April, but I don't have the details right beside me, so better to send it.
Yeah, absolutely. Email that over either to lancscan@lancashire.ac.uk or through the website. There's contact details there, or you can message me personally. But yeah, any kind of information you've got like that, I'm going to try and get the newsletter out probably kind of within maybe, well, it's before the end of the month, so next few days or so. So if you can get that information to me as quick as possible, that would be great. And then I think maybe me and you, Maya, can have like a chat about, sort of newsletter ideas, and we're moving forward with that. But absolutely fantastic talks today, everybody. Thank you so much.
John, you had your hand up before. Was there something you were going to say?
It was just basically just to say, but Naomi beat me to it, so she's already said, like, let's
Oh,
have a
right.
section in the newsletter. I do have another thought though, because it ties into particularly the first presentation. What Mike was talking about was green skills, green economy stuff. It's something we're doing. I work in sixth form college, and we're having for Earth Day a green jobs fair. So we've got, including Ribble Rivers Trust, lots of conservation organisations, but also renewable energy companies locally, recycling, local council and stuff. And so that is an angle we're taking. And I think, that aspect of it, particularly as Mike said, can really help with the older age range and help get it on the agenda for perhaps people in organizations who are less convinced about how important this is. But so I think that it seems to be a theme coming out about skills and jobs and careers and opportunities and training. And so I just thought I'd mention that. Yeah.
And I think Harvey.
Yeah, thanks. Just quickly. So I found the information now. So the connections with Sheffield University and somewhere called the South Yorkshire Sustainability Centre, who've been doing work with local authorities and thinking about their mayoral combined authorities. So the idea behind the May discussion will be about, because Lancashire's going through a reorganisation, so it'll be a discussion and learning from other people who've kind of been doing this kind of thing, is how we can make sure that the Climate Action Network and the environmental and climate agenda is sort of stays at the top of people's priorities through that process. So that'll be the kind of broad theme of the May Lancs Can Lunch and Learn. So it'd be interesting to hear what's been happening in a different part of the country, and then probably a long-term sort of thought process and set of actions, but how can we as Lancs can make sure that we are being, advocating for the things that we're involved in through this process of reorganisation.
So I think we're coming to the end of our time. So can I just thank you guys for putting up with me today, because I'm covering for Sam Marine, who's at this moment in Tyneside at a meeting. And thank you so much to the speakers for a fascinating presentation. I learnt a lot as well, so thank you very much. And you'll have Sam next time, so you won't have me, so it's nice to meet you all. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much.
Yeah, nice job. Everything perfectly kept to time, so you're welcome back anytime.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.